Those who witnessed Obama deliver his acceptance speech after winning the US election in the year 2008 must have noticed when Oprah shed tears. They must have noticed that she leaned on Jesse Jackson for support. Jesse Jackson was himself crying, not just from the happiness of a black man taking over the presidency of the United States of America, but I think a history was playing before his eyes, a history of centuries of the suffering of a black man in America. Uhuru's visit to Nyanza must have set Orengo through the same, as he gave his emotional speech talking about 2022 and that only God knows about 2022. But that Uhuru anajua. Uhuru anajua. I think the history of this country was playing before James Orengo. And for keen observers and for people who understand the political temperature in this country, for people who understand the history of this country, I think it is fair to admit that it has been a history of betrayal. And Uhuru's visit to Nyanza was in a way symbolic. And it resonates and is in sync with the speech delivered on the steps of Harambee House, as read by Raila Odinga on the 9th of March, the day the handshake ushered in the Building Bridges initiative. The key message in this speech, the key message in the handshake, was that Uhuru and Raila were aware of what was going on in this country, of our troubled history. I dare add, a history full of betrayal. The two said they were now committed to solve the problems that have bedeviled this country since independence. Problems that have failed to be addressed even by legislation. Problems that have not been addressed by even the new constitution. Uhuru's visit brought this out. And for the doubting Thomas, for those who have doubted that the handshake was about delivering this country from its past by doing what is perhaps right, I believe such a people can doubt no more. And therefore, Uhuru's presence, especially in Bondo, signals a new beginning for this country. It signals perhaps a beginning where Uhuru and Raila were to cement whatever agreement they had. There are those who believe that this, more than anything else, beyond being an indicator, firmly confirms that Uhuru believes that for the past atrocities to be addressed, for the problems of this country to be addressed, the presidency in 2022 must go to a man and perhaps a community as a way of paying the big debt. That there are other people with small debts, but it is the biggest debt that this country has to pay. Uhuru has to balance. And the moment was witnessed when you heard what he said. For the first time, he talked about a possible referendum. He mentioned the winner takes all in our election, and whether indeed it's not time for us to have a relook at that. If you listened and watched keenly, Uhuru has had to balance between his friendship with William Ruto, his commitment to the friendship with William Ruto, his promises to William Ruto and his community that he'll support him. Uhuru has to balance between William Ruto and the reality on the ground that for this country to know peace, it might be necessary, perhaps even for a short period, to deliver the president to Raila Odinga. And this seems to be the symbolic message you get from that meeting. That yes, you are my friend. Yes, William, I made commitments. I promise to support you, but the country is bigger. Let us end the problems we perpetually have to go through every election cycle. Let me pay even my father's debt to Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. And that this thing was so clear, it was so obvious, that even Ruto himself, by saying he will pitia katikati, and this reminds us of the year 2007, when Kalonzo Musyoka, realizing that the election of 2007 was about Raila Odinga and Mwai Kibaki, could only say he will pitia katikati as a humble way of admitting that the election was not about him. So for Ruto to say that he will pitia katikati, Raila pande hii, Uhuru pande hii, anapitia katikati, is an admission that finally he has seen the bigger picture that Raila and Uhuru are seeing. I think Ruto has now accepted that this thing is bigger than, and I hope bigger than he thought. And I hope going forward, there will be an end to all the wars we have had. Because now with Ruto admitting that he can only be a katikati person, that this thing is that big, I think any doubting Thomas, anybody who didn't believe that the handshake was about 2022 and that it was about delivering the presidency to Raila Odinga, this is the time. Because it is very obvious that that is what Raila and Uhuru had in mind with the handshake.